All right, so I got a bunch of messages asking what's up with the car. Am I still working on it? Is it done? Been very slow on like getting updates out there. I've been very busy with work and stuff. So I'm gonna show you a little bit of a recap of everything that I've been doing for the past couple months. Seems like a lot of work that I've been doing, but I don't think it's anywhere near as much work as what I did like when I first bought this car. I've just been very busy and a little bit burnt out, to be honest. This is so much work. Everything is one off. It's not like I can just buy an item and bolt it on and go. Everything has to be worked in, and I found out that if you look at something long enough, eventually you'll figure out a way to get it to work. So that's pretty much the point I'm at right now. All right, let's check the recap. Looks like there's a little bit of damage behind this paint. That's gonna be fun. Alright, I was not expecting it to be this bad. It was like a quarter inch more thick of Bondo just packed into this door. This thing is destroyed, man. That's crazy. Wonder if these were holes they were using to like get it to pull back out. Which is wild because this is still like super sunken. Yeah, this is really bad. I did like the edges and was like, it's not bad. Don't see any rust anywhere down any of this. And yeah. Which we've seen on the backside, but I didn't think it was going to be this bad. This is crazy. So this is pretty much destroyed. We're going to reskin it. All right, so a little bit of bad news, kind of. I spent most of the morning stripping this down, just getting it ready for paint. And I found out that this lower hatch, basically the entire strip all the way down at the bottom, I'm assuming from just collecting moisture, just the way that the panel sits, I'm sure it got water in there, and then it just collected on the bottom and then completely rusted it through. So I was trying to see if I could clean the metal up a little bit, and I was just going to replace, this top piece, but there's like a ton of pinholes through that entire thing. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do is just replace the entire hatch. I was going to buy the KF Vintage upper skin and patch that into it, and then just kind of fix like this lower skin and just, roll the edge back over that. But I started to think, and I was actually going to do that. This hatch is actually bent a little bit. I think it's a common issue with the 240Z the shock in the back that supports this when it lifts it up. On a 240, it only has a shock on one side. And I believe this hatch is probably 50 years old or more. Um, I'm not sure if this is like an original hatch from the car from 72, but over so many years, when you have pressure on one side, it just eventually just ends up warping, from that constant pressure. It sucks. I did a lot of modifications to this hatch. We have that open for my electronic actuator, some support pieces just to get rid of some of the flimsiness. It still flexes, but it's not super stiff, or super flimsy. I mean, it stiffened it up quite a bit. And then also, I modified the other side to be able to accept a second shock. And then on this upper side, we did all the holes for the louvers. So we're pretty much going to have to redo all that stuff. It is what it is. It sucks. I didn't buy this car to do like a one-night flip. This is just something that I'm trying to do as much as I can long-term. So if I fix that bottom strip, in the back of my head, I'm thinking inside here, is it rusty? Along any piece of this hatch that I don't have access to and can't really see. If I shoot some stuff up inside here to, do some corrosion protection, it doesn't stop the rust that's already there. So this may last me, if I do that skin, a couple years, 4 or 5 years maybe. And then, after I spend 100 hours getting this as straight as possible and shooting black paint on it, and I get 4 or 5 years out of it, that's just not long-term solution for me. So yeah, we're just going to replace the whole hatch. It is what it is. Yeah, so basically at this point, everything on this car has been replaced except the roof. Like we did the quarters, the inner quarters, dog leg, the rockers, the fenders are new, the hatch is going to be new, the door is going to be new. So it's pretty much a brand new car, really, when it gets done. And the price shows. I've spent so much money on this car, it's crazy. Did a little bit of sound deadening on the quarter panels too. I was just gonna spray that stuff, and I was like, let's just try that. We'll see how it is. Alright, so I pretty much went ahead and shaved majority of the holes. Windshield wiper holes gone. All the holes where like the brake lines originally went, those are all gone. All the mounting points up here, those are all gone. Did a little bit of work on like the motor mounts, or like the brackets where the motor mounts are going to go onto, just to make sure I don't have any like porosity or anything. Those all look pretty good. I'm not really happy with the way that the welds turned out on this. It's very poor. I did a very poor job. Structurally, I think it's good, but aesthetically, I think it looks very bad. But it's why I bought this car. Is what it is. Time to practice. I feel like when you're set up on like a table and you got everything good to go, it's very easy to make a nice, good weld. But in just awkward situations like this, where it's a 1/4 inch thick plate to whatever thin thickness that frame rail is, it's just it makes things difficult. All right, so I'm at a stopping point for tonight. The center that needed a lot of work. There's a couple high spots that need to be addressed. And same with this. This is very close. These are almost done. And just doing a skim coat over basically the sides that you're going to see. I'm not really doing too much to the bottom, and they're not really that bad on the bottom anyways. This one needed quite a bit of work too. Definitely a big high spot here that I need to work. I think the rest of this is actually even. I did burn through in a couple spots. We're probably going to recoat this with epoxy, but before I do that, I'm going to basically do a guide coat on this, sand it down, and see where my actual high spots are at. And then we'll do another coat of epoxy over top of that when we get done. Then we'll go to the high build, and that'll be the front and rear bumpers. This is a part of the build that I absolutely dread doing. I don't think I'm terrible at it, but I definitely am inexperienced for sure. It's going to take me a lot longer than it would for somebody that's a professional, or just somebody that does it a lot more than I do. All right, so time to do some 2K high build primer. I got these prepped, ready to go. I added these 2 inspection plate covers too on top of it. Figured I'd go ahead and spray those. Okay, so I'm mounting the center console. The front is just kind of attached to the dash. The rear here, I don't have anything holding it down. Originally it was bolted, I believe, from the bottom of the car, from the tunnel up. It had some like mounts on the bottom side, which that's all been cut out. I'm just trying to center this right now. And as you can see, it's pretty centered, as much as I can get it at least. What I did was I just kind of threw it in there and then took a measurement from my cut line here to the center console, and then took the measurement over there, divided, well, I minused both measurements and then divided it by 2. And then I took the measurement here and added the amount that I got after dividing the 2 sides, and that basically centered it up. So you take the edge right there, and then the same, so edge. It's pretty close at least. I really don't think you're gonna be able to tell just by looking by eye that like it's so close. So that's where we're gonna put it. And I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna attach this. So inside here, originally the tunnel was kind of rounded in the back. Actually, I think it was rounded here and then it kind of flattened out, but it needed to come down more, so this entire thing got chopped and lowered. So inside here, you can see there's a box, so this is 3D printed. 4 holes, so we're gonna mark those holes where they're at, and then underneath the tunnel we're gonna put some weld nuts, and then I also have some holes right here that will be for recessed bolts that are gonna attach it to the center console. And then I'm trying to decide if I want to actually glue the walls on the inside here to the center console, and just kind of glue, you know, this piece to the 3D printed piece. But yeah, almost there. As soon as I get the weld nuts in from the bottom side, all of that is still bare metal, like you can see here. We'll get that all painted, and then the entire underside of the car will be completely finished at that point. And then we can come up here and I can finish this and get this all painted. I still have to fix that little cutout area right there. And basically what I did was, I wasn't sure what I was gonna do, so I just kind of chopped it up and, you know, made space where I needed. I figured I would come back and, you know, remedy it. So we'll get this figured out, then we'll go to that, and then the interior of the car will be done at that point too. For the most part, actually, I think I have, we still got to do this. I have to clean up some of the crappy welds here. I'm making a piece out of aluminum. It'll look similar to this, and it'll go on top here. Something like that. So it'll sit like this, and then I have Skillard's floating panel, little compartment panels that he makes in the back here, and this will sit on top of it and it'll be riveted all the way around. Yeah, so it should look pretty good, at least what I have imaged in my head. Okay, so I just finished this up. This base piece, the floor, worked out very well. I like the design of it. Everything seems to flow very well. It's almost like you open it and it's not super obvious like right away. I also want to make a little rubber piece that's going to cover this, so you won't be able to see like the head of the bolts or anything like that. Might paint it also to match the black of the rest of the center console, but very sturdy. I got 2 bolts in the back, 2 bolts on the front, and then on the inside I have a plate that's kind of like smashing the plastic together, so it's very, very tight. I was gonna glue the sides, but I decided not to. Then we also got those located, drilled out, and I have weld nuts on the bottom side, so that way everything will sit down. It'll get locked up in the front there, and then it'll get bolted down in the back here. So I also built a little pass-through for these wires, so that way this can sit on the base of the floor flat, and I can also connect the connector to the harness that's going to come up from this side. This is just for like the switch and the light for whenever you open the little arm. So that'll go inside just like that. I need to trim this piece still. And yeah, so that worked out pretty good. All this stuff will get smashed. I might make a piece on the back here just to encapsulate everything, but I don't think you're really gonna see any of this stuff back here. I'm not really too worried about it. The plate I was talking about, smashing this together, it is very, very tight. I'm really surprised. I was expecting this to be a lot looser than it is, but it's not bad. All right, there you go. It's pretty much a little recap of what I've been doing for the past month. I can't wait to see that digital gauge cluster inside this car too, by the way. I made some brackets. I didn't really show any videos of that, but this all had to get customized to be able to fit it. And we made some plates that go from the framing to this dash, and some brackets so everything bolts up nice. Can't wait to see that. That should be awesome. So we have a lot of work to do on this dash too. I have to finish the ends. I have to do something with this lighting switch. That's going to be a pain. I'm not entirely sure how I want to do that yet. And then we also have the vents that I have to finish on both sides. That'll have to go with the end caps. So I actually have an idea in my head on what I want to do with that. I don't think that'll actually be too bad. End caps, not too difficult, at least from what I'm thinking in my head right now. The lighting switch, I feel like, is going to be the worst part. All right, I'm going to end it there. I have about another week where I'm going to spend about 10 to 12 hours a day every day trying to get done as much as I possibly can. And we should be getting the doors and the hatch in a couple of days too. So we have a lot of work to do with those also.